Hello and welcome to episode 109 of the Giddy Knits podcast. As always, I am Helen and I am coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, where I live with my husband Tom and my two boys, Arthur, who is 8, and Jasper, who is 5. Today is Monday the 10th of January and welcome back. I hope your new year is going as smoothly as can be. So yeah, hello and welcome back to all my regular viewers. It's lovely as always to have you back, and hello to anyone that is new. If you are new and you've stumbled across this video, then hi to start with. As I said, I'm Helen and I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns, and this is a crafting podcast where I talk about whatever projects I'm currently working on, the progress I've made, whether it's knitting, crochet, or occasionally other crafts that crop up here and there. I do have another craft this week. So what have I got for you this week? So I'm going to start off as always with just a little bit of an admin-y announcements section. I've got some works in progress to talk about. I've got a little bit of blanket progress to talk about. I'm going to talk about some cross stitch. I've got a tiny bit of Yarny Goodness to share, and a little bit of shop news, and then a little section at the end where there was just something else that I wanted to let you know about. I am in a different location. You may have spotted that if you are a regular viewer. I am in the dining room. This may be a familiar location to you if you've watched any of my vlog series, because I quite often end up recording in the dining room because it's where I spend quite a lot of my work day, certainly when the kids are at school and stuff. But yeah, Tom is currently working from home. They're back to working from home as much as possible. So where I usually record in our bedroom is also Tom's office. So he's up there working. So I was trying to pick the best spot in the house, and this is as good as I can get. Unfortunately, I am slightly side lit by the window, but it's January in Scotland, so it's a bit grey. So hopefully it's not too bad. I've also got the overhead light on because it's January in Scotland and it's a bit grey. So yeah, not ideal lighting situation, but better than nothing. So yeah, the next few weeks you might find that I record down here just for convenience sake. I'm rambling. I'm definitely rambling. Right. Announcements. What announcements have I got for you? So nothing really, just to a reminder as always that we have the Giddy Yarns Make-Along ongoing. You can enter it in the Ravelry group, you can enter it in the Mighty Networks group, and you can also enter it on Instagram. All the details and information of how you can enter that are down below, and I will be adding some simple show notes down below the video this week as well, because I know there were a few of you that said that you do find show notes quite useful. So I'm going to have a little think about that, and you should be able to find show notes underneath the video. Yeah, that's what's happening. What else was I going to say? Mighty Networks and Ravelry groups. I've not been very active in them, and I apologise for that. I am going to try and remedy that. I'm trying to be a little bit more active. I did spot the other day that a lovely viewer has popped up an advent thread in the Ravelry group, which was absolutely amazing. I'm going to sit down today and go through it and have a little look, because I hadn't even, I mean, this is how little I'd been on Ravelry during December. I hadn't even seen it, and there are so many comments and messages and things in there for you all sharing your advent calendar and things like that. So thank you so much for popping up that thread. I might need to look at getting a moderator or something for the Ravelry group. So actually, if anybody would be willing to act as a moderator for the Ravelry group, pop up threads and kind of help engage conversation and things over there, then just drop me a message, because that might actually be really helpful, because I am finding it more and more difficult to keep on top of nowadays. But yeah, I'm going to try and be more active, I promise, because I really like interacting with everybody, and I really like it being less of just me talking to the camera and more of an interaction and getting to know all of you as well. And they're the places that works for that. Right, shall I stop rambling and should we actually talk about some knitting? So I've got 3 works in progress that I'm going to talk about, all of which you've seen, but they have had some progress. So we will start with this one here, living in, how gorgeous is this Alice in Wonderland fabric? It's amazing, and I don't know if you can quite see, but some of the stitching is actually kind of gold, or some of the printing is kind of actually gold. It's actually metallic, and it's gorgeous. As always, it's from Jem at The Little Grey Girl. So this is my Storm's End cowl, which is a pattern of my own design. I shared it last week for the first time, and I've made a small amount of progress on this. However, I have discovered that I can knit this whilst reading on my Kindle. So I suspect that I might make a bit more progress as well, because I will reach for it when I sit down and fancy reading my book, and I can actually knit on this at the same time. So last time we talked, I was just where that little stitch marker is. And let me tell you about this little stitch marker. I got this. It's going to focus on my fingers and not the stitch marker. There we go. I got this little stitch marker from Laura at Bumbling Yarns, and she has just started doing some more polymer clay stitch markers again. And I mean, this is a Christmas one. This is a Christmas tree cupcake, but how gorgeous is that? I do love these kind of stitch markers. So yeah, check out Laura's shop if you're interested in polymer clay stitch markers, because she started making some gorgeous ones. I have got another cupcake that I bought from her as well. Somewhere I have a galaxy donut that I bought from Laura absolutely ages ago, and it has disappeared. I've got no idea where it is. It's probably on some project that I've not touched for like a year. But yeah. Storm's End cowl. So the yarn I'm using is the yarn that was part of my 12 Days of Christmas set, which was a rainbow, and I am currently on colour number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, colour number 8. I'm just going into this turquoisey colour, and then from there we go, I don't know quite, I've got the order wrong. So ignore the turquoise because the turquoise is at the wrong end. Oh, come on camera, focus. There we go. So from the turquoise we go to the blue, the purple, the slightly more mauve purple, and then the pink. And they're the last few colours. So it's a lovely pastel rainbow, which I really, really enjoyed dyeing. I didn't keep spectacular notes on how I dyed this up because I felt like actually if I was going to replicate it, I might just dye another pastel rainbow. You know, it doesn't have to be exact, but I definitely will be doing some kits of this for shows with the pattern, and I want to do a brighter rainbow as well because I really like it. I'm really pleased with how it all fades into each other. So yeah, I really want to get this finished this week. I really should be able to get this finished this week. It would be good to have one of these projects off the needles. The second work in progress that I have made a fair amount of progress with this week is my Christmas socks, living in another Little Grey Girl bag, and the unicorn debate. So a number of you suggested that a unicorn with wings is a Pegasus. But we were quickly corrected by people with greater knowledge, thanks to My Little Pony, which, as a mum of 2 boys, I've not really been watching at all. I used to love My Little Pony when I was little, but I tried showing it to the boys, but they're not interested. Anyway, so the decision was that a Pegasus is a horse with wings but no horn. A unicorn is a horse with a horn but no wings, and an alicorn is a horse that is a unicorn with wings, basically. So there we go. We have solved words failing me. We have solved the debate. I didn't bring my sock blockers down. That's a bit annoying, but anyway. I have finished a sock. I finished the first sock in my Christmas socks. And if you've watched this, if you've been watching for a while, you'll remember that this yarn is some ancient Giddy Yarns. This is called Christmas Morning Chaos. and I dyed this up as a Christmas colourway back in 2017, which was the first year that my business was open, and I did a 12 Days of Christmas box instead of an advent calendar, and I dyed this up as the Christmas Day skein, and I can remember vividly dyeing it on the kitchen floor, because I used to roll it out. I dyed the two ends, the green and the red end, and then the central end stayed undyed, and then I would lie it out on cling film on the kitchen floor, and I would put the speckles on, and then I would steam it. And I can remember doing it, and I remember getting far more orders for it than I was expecting to, and being very stressed about getting it done. But anyway, the skein has sat in my stash ever since, and it's really nice to finally get it, finally start getting it knit up. So we have one finished sock, and I haven't cast the second one on yet. I really need to do that. I really should have split the ball in half, because I was doing so well with that. When I started doing that, splitting the cake in half, so I had two 50-gram cakes and knitting my socks concurrently, I finished socks so much quicker. But I don't know, I've just been really lazy about splitting the ball in half, and I keep caking it up into 100 grams and then not going through the process of winding off 50 grams of it. But I really should, because it definitely makes knitting socks much easier, because you don't get that whole second sock syndrome. But yeah, I need to get the second sock cast on so that I can get this pair finished and hopefully knit a few more pairs of socks this year than I did last year. So that is my second work in progress. The third work in progress, of course, is my Cupid's arrow wrap. This is another one of the projects. In fact, these three projects are the three projects that I really want to get finished this month. So my Cupid's arrow wrap has seen a small amount of progress. Ooh, my scissors are in there. There we go. So this is a pattern by Ellie of Craft House Magic. She released it in 2020 as an advent pattern. And I have, as I've mentioned before, I've altered the pattern slightly. I'm not adding the lace eyelet sections. I'm just doing it in pure garter stitch, and I'm using the advent calendar, it's all living in there, from Spectrum Fibres from 2020. And this is where we're at so far. I've just dropped the ball of yarn on the floor. So it is growing significantly. I was just, again, where that little sock progress keeper was the last time we showed. So I've added about 2 colours in. Unfortunately, the light is not good for this one today. If I hold it that way, it might be a little bit better, because the window, you'll get the window. These 2 colours were quite close actually with the fade, so they're not quite as distinct as some of the others further down. But I think I'm enjoying that. I think I'm enjoying the mix of subtle fadey bits, but also like contrasty pops as well. So yeah, it will be interesting to see once it's done how that all comes out. But actually having those odd pops is quite fun. What else have I got to say about this really? I'm on colour number, ooh, let's work it out, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I am on colour number 12, so I am halfway through. I really want to get it finished. I really want to get it finished. Why are there not enough hours in the day to do all the things that we want to do? I spent quite a lot of time this week, well, Thursday and Friday, I spent quite a lot of time working on this, because I've been doing research for the Middle Earth Minis Club, research which basically entailed me watching the first 2 Hobbit films whilst knitting and dyeing yarn, but that was quite nice. It was quite nice to actually get that kind of crafting time, but I don't think I'm going to have as much time this week to do the same, so we'll see. I'm trying to squeeze the knitting time in where I can. But yeah, my goal is to get these 3 finished. Now, I did get a little distracted. Having said that my goal is to get those 3 finished. Oh my goodness, I was about to rescue that ball of yarn I've dropped, the mini, but it is all the way over the other end of the table, under the table. I'm just going to pop my project bag on the floor and I will rescue that later. I did get a little bit distracted. we were watching Doctor Who. We hadn't watched the most recent series with Jodie Whittaker. Is it Jodie Whittaker? It is Jodie Whittaker, isn't it? I always want to call her Jodie Foster, and I know that's wrong, and then I second guess myself over the surname. Anyway, we just watched the series. Basically, Tom wanted to re-watch all of her time as the Doctor before we watched the most recent series. So that took us a little while. So we've then powered through the whole of the series, which was amazing. I've talked to a couple of people about it, and it's been quite controversial because a lot of people didn't like the fact that it was as story-based as it was. Whereas previous ones, you know, there's been like an overarching story, but each episode has been pretty standalone. Whereas this was just like an epic story throughout the whole series, but I loved it. Anyway, all of that to say, I wanted something really mindless to work on while I was watching it, and I just fancied a bit of simple crochet that I didn't really need to think about. So I picked out my Mild Mayhem blanket, which is a blanket I've not worked on for a while. So if you are new, you may not have seen it. This is my Mild Mayhem blanket. It's not a pattern at all. I just call it my Mild Mayhem blanket because that's what it is. It's Mild Mayhem. As you can see. So what I am doing with this blanket is I am creating giant granny squares, and each granny square is created holding 2 magic knot balls double. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see the marling in this light, unfortunately. Oh no, there we go, just about see if, there we go, that's not too bad. So it is holding 2 magic knot balls double. I am not doing any yarn management at all. I did no yarn management when I created the magic knot balls. I just created them where I had scraps that were less than 10 grams. I just knotted them together and I threw them straight into a magic knot ball. And then I'm just pulling, I'm pulling from 2 magic knot balls, 2 strands, holding them together and crocheting giant granny squares, and then joining the giant granny squares onto the blanket. So you get a real mix. I'm going to shuffle back a little bit so I can hold it up and you can see. You get a real mix of colours. And you can see how the colours play completely differently throughout the whole blanket. And I'm really enjoying it. It is so fun. And it is just fun seeing what are the next colour combinations. And I finished and joined this square here this week. And then I have started another square as well. Oh, and this is the cupcakes. I knew I'd put it somewhere sensible. This is the other little cupcake stitch marker that I got from Laura at Bumbling Yarns. Little purple cupcake with a drizzle on top. There we go. It's stopping my crochet from unravelling currently. So yeah, I really enjoyed getting this out again. This is one of those blankets that I really want finished because it's 2 strands of fingering weight held together. I'm using a 4mm crochet hook, so it's actually quite a dense fabric, and it's just going to be really, really cozy. I kind of want to keep it up in the bedroom so that, you know, whenever I get a chance to just sit on the bed and grab 10 minutes to read my book or something like that, I can just shove this blanket over my lap. So yeah, it definitely needs to carry on and be finished, but blankets are one of those projects, for me at least, that they don't have a deadline. So although I may not have worked on this for months and months and months, I'll come and I'll work on it a little bit more and eventually it will get finished. They don't count as whips in my world, blankets. So yeah, I picked that up and added another square, which was very nice. And then I also got a bit more distracted from my goal of finishing the projects that I was talking about because I picked up my cross stitch as well. As part of the new year, we've been talking about lots of things that we want to do around the house, lots of things that we want to get sorted around the house. We've been reorganising Jasper's bedroom. I talked very briefly, I think, on Vlogmas, or certainly one of my vlogs more recently, about the fact that we wanted to do something with his bottom bunk because he's got bunk beds, but nobody sleeps on the bottom bunk because Arthur's now got his own bedroom. So we have taken the mattress out of the bottom bunk and boarded it and using it now as a bit more storage. But it's been quite a big job to kind of reorganise his bedroom, and we're still in the midst of it. But all of that to say that it inspired me to think about things that I wanted to finish for the house. And one of the things that I've been desperate to get finished for the house is the cross stitches that I started a long time ago. I've done 2 of them. Oh, and I don't have the 2 that I've done in here, but it's basically going to be like a set of 3 cross stitch. I'm going to take it out the hoop because you're not going to be able to see it. It's going to be a set of 3 cross stitches. And they all have different writing in the middle. So this one has scroll work in the middle that says, and they lived happily ever after. But I have finished off this side, is all finished now. Well, I think it continues below the scroll work. You can just see here the start of the scroll coming in. But that section is kind of finished for now, and I've just started to do the same on the other side. It is a lot of quite detailed floral stitching. I'm going to just change the brightness. Let's see if I can do this without turning the camera off this time. There we go. Let's try that. That's better. It is quite a lot of detailed stitch work with all these flowers. There's lots of colours. So it is taking me a lot longer than I was kind of expecting it to. But I am really enjoying it, and it's been quite nice to get back into a bit of cross stitch. I'm looking forward to getting these done and framed. I mean, this one's actually going to be quite big, I think. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting these done and framed, and it's been quite nice working on them. What I was doing was, during the day when I was working and I was dyeing yarn, and usually I get a bit of time, certainly at this time of the month, before I've got club chaos to deal with, I get a little bit more time to be able to, when I'm dyeing yarn, to be able to do a little bit of knitting or something in between. So that's what I was doing. I was doing kind of knitting during the day, and then once the kids got home from school and they were dealt with and settled and we'd done everything that they needed to do, I was able to just kind of get my cross stitch out and sit a little bit while they played. So that was quite nice. But yeah, oh, the pattern is, I can't remember if it's got a name, but it's from Plastic Little Covers, who are a small cross-stitch designer. You can find them on Instagram, and they've got their own website now as well, but they do lots of fun stuff. There's quite a lot of her patterns that use bad language, but in quite a fun, tongue-in-cheek way. But there's also some really fun, like, there's one that I really want to do at the moment, which is all dinosaurs. It's like a massive kind of dinosaurs, and then it says women will inherit the earth. So there's lots of kind of fun sayings and things like that, designed with a lot of nice florals and a lot of fun cross-stitch patterns. Let's just go with that, shall we? Okay, so the last thing was a bit of Yarny Goodness. I received in the post this week, or last week at some point, another set of minis from Laura at Bumbling Yarns, who I've talked about a lot this week, haven't I? Stitch markers and yarn and everything. Laura is super popular with me, apparently. But this is her Scrappy Club, which, as you know, I've been dipping into and out of over the last year, and I'm planning to create a Bumbling Yarns blanket using the Scrappy Club and various other minis that I've got from Laura. And this one is inspired by Call the Midwife. And I love that she's got all the little names. I don't know how well you can see there, but all the little names on them. So you've got Dr. Turner, Jenny Lee, Nanata's House, Fred, Chummy, Trixie, all the different kind of classic characters from the series. So I'm really looking forward to starting that blanket, which I really will not do until I have finished another blanket. Right, that was all the Yarny Goodness. A little bit of shop news. Nothing drastic, just to say that I've got a shop update planned for the 28th of January. It'll be quite a big shop update. I'm hoping to get a little bit more poinsettia out there. I know it's now January and not Christmas, but I know a number of you missed out on poinsettia, which was my new self-striping colourway. So I thought I would do another batch just for those people that wanted to grab it and knit it for Christmas next year. So I'm hoping to get another batch of that done. I'm hoping to release my Narnia collection once I've settled on all the colours. I've got some fun plans to do a silly little fun colour of the month thing, which I'm going to dye up for that shop update as well. And I might also be dyeing up a couple more sock sets. I've got a plan for a wintry sock set and hopefully also a Valentine's-y sock set. So yeah, quite a big shop update, January the 28th. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about quickly is not yarn related, is not crafting related, but is book related. If you follow me on Instagram, if you follow Giddy Yarns on Instagram, you will have seen I put a thing in my stories that I've started a new Instagram account just to kind of record my reading, because I've been really enjoying getting back into reading books a lot more over the last few years. And if you watched Vlogmas, you'll have seen that I did a video all about the books that I read in 2021. Yeah, I still can't keep track of the years. 2021, yes, last year. It's now 2022. You will have watched that video, and I just thought I would start just a simple Instagram page where every time I finish a book this year, I can kind of do a little post and say what I think of it, and it will be a good way of me kind of tracking my progress throughout the year. It's also a place where I can follow other kind of bookish accounts, so I can get inspiration's not quite the word I mean, but like recommendations for other books that I want to read, and have it all in one place rather than getting it all mixed in with yarn and everything else. So if you enjoy when I talk about books, I need to stop playing with my hair. If you enjoy when I talk about books, then you might find it interesting, and you can find it on Instagram as ABlanketOfBooks. So yeah. That was all really. It's a bit different, but I'm quite enjoying it, and I've enjoyed those of you that have come over already. It's been nice to kind of hear your thoughts on the books that I've read and things like that. Right, I'm going to leave it there. That is everything I've got to talk about. I will be back again next week, probably in this same location, and hopefully with more knitting progress. And I will see you all then. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.